was screened in Torino and received outstanding reviews. So the Italian press is really happy about the film, as I read. And we are very happy about that because we were sure about the quality of the film, and that's the reason why we insisted so much in order to have you here. So first of all, I would like to start with a small introduction on the film. So I would like to ask the director, Paola Randi, to just give a brief, let's say, introduction, like a small outline of what the film is about, so that also our audience can get a glimpse of the big picture, and then we can dive into more detailed questions, if that's okay.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here because it's my second time at PÖFF. My first time was with my first movie, and so I'm really glad to be back. Tito and the Alien is a small story in a big universe, I would say. It's a story about a man, an Italian professor, who's working and living in the United States. He's working for the United States government, and he's living close to Area 51. Area 51 is a legendary place. He's working there, but he's now, when we meet him, is like a bit depressed because he lost his wife. And so instead of working, he's like laying on a sofa in the desert all day long, like trying to catch up sounds from the space with an antenna. But then at a certain point, his entire world is like just put upside down by the arrival of his nephew and his niece, two kids from Naples that are sent them there from the brother of the scientist, which is no longer alive. And he sends his kid because his brother is a big scientist and he's the one who made it, you know. And also because he knew that he was living in Las Vegas. So he supposed that the whole environment would be perfect for the kids. But what they find out is totally different. And so from that moment on, everything really starts to sort of move in an unexpected way.
When we think of the title, Tito and the Aliens, obviously one is attracted by the idea of the aliens. Who are the aliens and what kind of role do they play in the film? But from a personal perspective, I can say that when I watched the film, the beauty of the film is in the genre and in the style that it's used. It's not just a drama, it's not just a sci-fi, it's a mix, and a very well blended mix, very well balanced mix. And so if you could also introduce a little bit where the film comes from, what is the motivation that pushed you to tell this story and to tell it this way, with this kind of characters and with this kind of style?
Yeah, well, I wanted to talk about what happens when you have to face a loss, the loss of somebody you love, what happens and which kind of antidotes you can put in place in order to overcome, the sorrow and to face all this really area, which is like a sort of a bit of a sci-fi environment that you find yourself in when you have to face something like that. And it all came from an image. Well, my father, in the very last period of his life, he suffered of, memory loss. And so I caught him one day, staring for hours to a photograph of my mother's, a very beautiful, portrait hanged on the wall. And because he was trying to keep her memory alive in himself, no matter what. And so from that, incredible gesture of love, an image came to my mind, the image of this man in the desert, listening to the universe, trying to catch the voice of his late wife. And so from that moment on, I started building the story. And, you know, because the aliens is like a very magical kind of idea, because it's connected to what we don't know, and so to what we fear and we're scared of, but also to our dreams, to the possibility of reaching something that we don't expect to, and to meet with somebody which is really close to our imagination and to our soul. And so that's the kind of experiment that they try to put on. And sci-fi here is a perfect, you know, genre that allowed me to put together a story which goes in multiple directions, which is a story of love, of a family, of adventure, of course, but also, and it's also funny, and it leads you to a bigger universe. I mean, that's what I tried to do, what we tried to do all together.
And I do believe that this is the real definition of sci-fi, to actually look for something that we believe is fictional, scientific fiction, but at the same time resonates with us here on Earth.
Right.
So that's the actual, which I wish more modern sci-fis would actually do, instead of just special effects and that would have more layers to that and more connection to us here on Earth. But when I watched the film, and also going back to what you just said about memories and ideas, definitely a reference that just bumped into my head was Plato's World of Ideas. So the concept of having somewhere another world that has the real ideas of the material objects that we see, and to see a person who's trying to reach this outer space, this outer world somewhere up there over the clouds, in order to look for something that he once had just in front of him, is very touching, like very emotional and very romantic in a way. I would like to ask you to explore a little bit more this topic of the film. So the distance, and if we think about, even in Italian, the word alieno, or in English, alien, it means something that it's not familiar to us, something that it's unknown, something that it's outside of us in terms of our culture, our community, our everything. And unfortunately, it's a word that it's been used and abused lately. And in your case, when we talk about aliens, what is your personal perception, your personal feeling when this word hits you?
Well, I think that we are all aliens to somebody. So basically, and there will be always somebody alien or something alien to us. It was probably Bukowski, I think, that said that everybody thinks we're weird, and we think everybody's weird, and we all like we are all right. So I think that the unknown is always something that scares us, of course, you know, but it's also the trigger. Curiosity is also the trigger that led us where we are, is what actually moves us towards new frontiers that enrich us extremely. Like my sister, for example, she's a scientist, and my brother was a philosopher. So I'm really glad that you brought the philosophy on the table, because, you know, the wonderful thing is that everybody is moved from something that it's really scaring, like death. You know, the idea of losing somebody is really scaring. But it's what moves an entire world towards trying to find solutions, trying to find ideas, trying to find manners of facing and understanding what happens there. And that actually is really something that implies an effort an effort of everybody, every single person in the world. Is the international community of scientists, for example, it's a very good example. And also the philosopher, they work the same way. They share information. And because sharing cultural differences is a key point for evolution and is a key point for saving the planet, or, you know, for having a real, making really dreams come true at the end, which meaning, you know, looking for a better kind of living for everybody, for the planet, for the universe. Maybe I'm going too far. Am I going too far? Just stop me if I do.
No, it fits also.
Get very passionate about it.
It fits also the film. It fits also what we see in the film and what's behind the more, let's say, superficial layer of the film, which is like the main plot. There's so much more digging into this plot and this layer, this outer layer. There's so much more, and I really hope the audience will get the chance to go watch the film and find out on their own. And when watching the film, especially considering that it's an Italian film, it's peculiar to see where it's been shot, and probably the challenges also that you guys had while you had to shoot and to organize the shooting. Yeah. So I would like to ask also to Matilde, the producer of the film, what were the main challenges, and when the director told you, I want to go over there to shoot my film, what was your first reaction, and how did you work in order to make everything happen and fall into place?
Okay. Yes, well, this is a very ambitious movie, like because it's all set in Nevada, so being an Italian company, it's not always easy to go and shoot in the United States. We worked very closely with Paola to find creative solutions that would make it possible for us to do it with our budget. And it was a very, very close collaboration. And we scouted very different places. And we've been going around the US a lot together. And finally, we found a way to shoot the majority of the movie in Spain, near Almeria, in the Tabernas Desert, where Sergio Leone used to shoot his Western movies, and mix that with the real Nevada. And also there is a little part of the movie shot in Italy, the Area 51 part. It was a challenge, but because also I thought that in the desert we wouldn't have any rain, but that's not always the case. Let's say that. But you know, I hope the outcome makes I feel it's really homogeneous. How do you say it? Makes it homogeneous. So I'm very happy about that.
Lovely. Yeah, the settings are wonderful, and it's, well, most of the film is in, outside locations. It's in open air locations, not studios or anything. So the landscapes are amazing, and it's really like beautiful also from a cinematography point of view. When watching the film, there are many. It's not many, but there are quite a few characters, and they are very, very interesting. I'm not going to go into details because I want the audience to find out, you know, who these characters are and what kind of specific characteristics they have also in behavior. But I would like to ask Miguel, how did you, when you read the script and when you started to, let's say, meeting with the director and talking about your character, developing the psychology of the character, everything, what was your take? What was your input also in making and developing your character? And if you can talk a little bit about who you are in the film.
Well, I play Luke, which is one of the inhabitants of Rachel. One of the 35, and it's this beautiful character. When I read the script, I fell in love with Luke, because I felt that there was something that that I saw that the character didn't understand, that was beyond the character's imagination. And I think that there is something that the whole movie has, which is love. And it's something that I saw that my character was missing, and I felt the connection. Even though my character does not understand anything of what the other characters say, my character has something that is bigger than him, this search for love. He is so used to aliens that he needs the human connection. And I believe that it's something that it's been done wonderfully in the script, which is everybody's looking for aliens, and I feel that my character is looking for humans. And this made me trigger so many different emotions. And when I talked to Paola about my character and how my character was so simple, it made absolute sense. And working with Chiara Stella and with Luca, which are absolutely amazing kids, and that they didn't understand much English, and I didn't understand their Neapolitan accent, which made it all that more fun. But we ended up having a very true connection between ourselves, more beyond than just the characters, which made me personally travel within these emotions and find the connection that sometimes was what my character was looking for. So I feel very mirrored and honored with this beautiful character.
Yeah, if I can add
Sure.
a couple of
Yeah,
things.
absolutely.
I was lucky enough to work with an amazing cast. I had Valerio Mastandrea, which is a wonderful actor, which plays the professor, Clemence Poésie, which plays Stella, Miguel, and the two kids, which are really amazing, I think. And we actually saw, I think we interviewed like 890 kids for the parts. And we found out these two wonderful, really wonderful persons and actors. And it's the first time on screen ever, and they really look like professionals, and we were amazed on their also strength and behavior on set. So you know that they say working with kids is a nightmare. Not for me. My experience was excellent. I would work with kids forever.
Right, kids.
I think Miguel said something which is really, really important, and it's something that I wanted to close the interview with. When we spend so much time looking at the aliens and looking at something that is out there, and we often forget to who we have in front of our own eyes, you know, and we often forget to the real connection with the people around us that we treat like aliens. So we look for the aliens, we look for something out there, but we don't even realize that we're treating who's right next to us like aliens, and we push them away, and we don't know them, and we don't. And that's something that is very well developed also in your film, in terms of the search for something that's out there, but not just the main character with Mastandrea. Like all the characters have their own little pursuit, their own little search, their own little needs and lust for something. So how did you manage to use sci-fi genre and topos to then develop something that is extremely human and extremely far from what one might expect, you know, from a more aliens type of film?
Well, in this case, again, my father was a great help because, you know, when you lose your memory, there's a problem of identity there, you know. You don't recognize yourself, and your family do not recognize you. Everybody's an alien all of a sudden. And so what you need to do, I mean, what I tried to do was, okay, so how he does it, like reorganize the fragments of reality and put them all together in order to give a sense to what is happening to him. And so I thought that maybe, you know, this is quite an interesting point of view if you put it that way, because, you know, all these relatives that he has, children, you know, himself, are aliens, but a part of him. And it's only a matter of remember who you are in order to understand that maybe aliens are really closer than you think you are. So I think that I actually owe that to my father, definitely.
So we're closing the conference, the interview, the meeting. I would just like to remind the people at home who's following us that this is the international premiere of the film. It's competing in the main competition, and it's going to screen on the 29th, so today, at the Cosmos Cinema at 6 p.m. So if you haven't done it yet, go and check out the website, buy the tickets, because I really totally love the film. I have to, big supporter. Like, love the film, so I would really love the audience to go and check it out, because it's something that I do believe it's very hard to see nowadays, using the sci-fi genre as it should be used, so to get people closer to each other and not to separate them just to look for something out there and have some beautiful special effects. Which is great. I mean, it's great. Popcorns, they sell popcorns. It's beautiful, but, you know, we're talking about a different kind of film right now.
I love popcorn.
Yeah. So that's totally fine. So once again, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Tallinn. And I
Thank
look
you.
forward also to your next films, and hopefully to have you back again.
Of course.
Okay.
With pleasure. With pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.